This is trigram, making a young girl marry.
Okay.
It's
That's a hexagram.
hexagram, yes. Above is thunder, and below is lake.
All right.
So movement over joy. And it says, before the primordial in people is spoiled and mixes with acquired conditioning, yin and yang are united. Yang controls yin, yin follows yang, one energy flows. The living potential persists, wholly integrated with the design of heaven. They merge naturally without depending on human effort. Then when acquired conditioning takes over one's actions, the primal true yang is lost outside. Discriminatory awareness uses consciousness to produce illusions. Yin and yang go awry, the elemental energies get mixed up, desires stir and emotions arise. The mind gets mixed up with things, delighting in externals from within, inwardly moved by externals. One's inherent true yang is evaporated by other. Self is represented by the east in the province of thunder. Other is represented by the west in the province of lake. The east is the host essence. The west is the guest feeling. Lake-seeking thunder is disturbing essence by emotion, external energy, injuring inner energy.
Okay. Where does it say bad yin or yang?
So in this one, it just talks about positive or negative energy in general. So and it says, furthermore, lake is associated with metal, governing punishment and killing. Thunder is associated with wood, governing life and merit. When punishment and killing overcome life and merit, positive energy dissipates day by day, and negative energy grows day by day. When this dissipation and growth reaches the point where there is pure negativity and no positivity, even if you want to avoid dying, you cannot. Therefore, if a young girl is made to marry, to go on will lead to misfortune. No profit is gained.
That seems pretty clear to me. I didn't hear anything about bad yin or bad yang.
What does negative energy growing mean in this here?
Well, doesn't it talk about the inside being influenced by the outside?
Yeah.
So there you go.
What do you mean exactly?
Well, let's say you're sitting there and you're in contemplation, and somebody goes by with a nice juicy hot dog or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now you say, well, the hell with your contemplation now gets overtaken by the fact that you want a hot dog.
Right.
Well, that's not very good contemplation, is it? If you're sitting there contemplating what it'll taste like when you finally get your hot dog.
Right.
So that's an example. I mean, it's a crude one, but that's an example. These things require reflection. If you read them slowly, I think it would all make sense. And also, if you look at that hexagram, if I'm not mistaken, the second line and the fifth line are in balance, are they not?
Second line and fifth line. Yes.
Okay, so those are in balance. So that would be the being in balance. But then when you go up, the third line is yin,
mm-hmm.
and the fifth line is yin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the top two lines are yin, right?
Yeah.
So what's that look like to you? Where's that going to go? If everything goes, if that third yin keeps growing, then everything's yin.
Mm.
There's no balance. It's a beautiful hexagram. I mean, but you gotta spend time and contemplate these. So start from the beginning. If it would be productive to start wherever you started, and read one sentence at a time, and read it slowly so we can absorb the meaning. All right. So start with the first.
Before the primordial in people is spoiled and mixes with acquired conditioning, yin and yang are united.
Okay, before the primordial in people is united, right? Like Adam and Eve before the...
Yeah.
Okay, so it's united, okay?
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Yang control, well, it's yang controls yin follows yang, one energy flows. The living potential persists, wholly integrated with the design of heaven. They merge naturally without depending on human effort. So my understanding, this refers to just being in accordance with the way.
Well, yeah, the male energy leads and the female energy follows.
Yeah.
Or it's not
exactly. That part's clear. Yeah.
Okay, and everything's fine.
Yeah. And then when acquired conditioning takes over one's action, the primal true yang is lost outside. Discriminatory awareness uses consciousness to produce illusions. Yin and yang go awry. The elemental energies get mixed up. Yin and yang go awry. The elemental energies get mixed up. Desires stir and emotions arise. The mind gets mixed up with things. Delighting in externals from within. Inwardly moved by externals. One's inherent true yang is evaporated by other.
Okay. Is that not clear?
So I guess by other means like outside conditioning?
Yeah.
I see.
All right, next. Read more slowly, please.
Self is represented by the east in the province of thunder. Other is represented by the west in the province of lake.
Okay, for the purposes of this one,
mm-hmm.
I mean this commentary, the east and west represent different things, all right?
Okay.
But of course it's arbitrary, but keep going.
The east is the host, essence. The west is the guest, feeling.
Okay, so now we know that we have host and we have guest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one is essence and the other one is feeling, right?
Feeling.
Probably emotion in this case.
Lake seeking thunder is disturbing essence by emotion.
Well, there it is.
External energy, inner energy.
Okay, slow down. You're going too fast. I can't. I have to process it through about 3 levels.
Right.
And bring it back to you. So when you compound it, it makes it harder. So keep going.
Right.
Piece by piece.
Sorry. Lake seeking thunder is disturbing essence by emotion.
Okay. So we have lake, which is calm and placid and tranquil
mm-hmm.
and joyful. And then we have thunder, which is, thunder. Okay. So lake now is seeking thunder. So that's, we have all this placidity that's already there, peace that's already there, inherent. And now we have something that's disturbing that.
Mm.
And it's like east and west or something like, that's the metaphor this particular version is using here, all right?
Mm.
And so keep going.
Furthermore, lake is associated with metal, governing punishment and killing. Thunder is associated with wood, governing life and merit.
Life and merit?
Yep.
And in this case, lake is associated with what?
Metal, governing punishment and killing.
Okay. So it's governing those. It's important. And in the West, we have thunder, which is what now?
Associated with wood, governing life and merit.
Okay. These are the things that are the controls over these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next.
When punishment and killing overcome life and merit, positive energy dissipates day by day and negative energy grows day by day.
Okay. In this case, lake is representing something else, right? So read that again, please, that last part.
Is this, I get the sense like of being complacent.
Yeah.
And being overtaken by yin energy.
Yeah, if thunder, which is governing life,
mm-hmm.
right, and merit, is overtaken by lake, which is, I shouldn't have said placid. It's it's a yin. It's dominated by yin, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And so, in this, you'd have to look at what comes before, which hexagrams come before, and which ones come after, But it sounds as if that life is being overtaken by metal, killing, and punishment. Right? Like during the Warring States era or during, So go ahead.
When this dissipation and growth reaches the point where there's pure negativity and no positivity, even if you want to avoid dying, you cannot.
Yeah, you're dead, man. If you let punishment and killing overtake life and merit, then your society is dead. You're dead. Anybody's dead, right? That's a bad scenario. So imagine the lake overtaking thunder also.
Okay.
And when the lake represents the governing of punishment and killing, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be good. So basically, the punishment and the killing overtakes life and merit. And the kind of sort of alchemical representations are that of wood and metal, right? So when metal overtakes wood, then you end up with something that's not too good for the wood, which comes from life. So they're using like several layers of several different levels of symbolism and
right.
So you got to. And this is why you have to be familiar with the whole book.
Right.
You can't just open it up and read a trigram. You got to, understand you have to really be comfortable with all of it.
Yeah.
Before you use part of it. And then you have to just contemplate, read it and think, okay, so you could spend, it's not unreasonable to spend 20 minutes at least.
Yeah.
On one of these. And which, are we reading the overall image?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very, one of the few very inauspicious readings there is, right?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it can easily tip over the wrong way. Forcing a young girl to marry can tip over the wrong way and then into, what is the, why don't you read the part of the next passage?
The next paragraph?
Yeah.
So making a young girl marry means using lake to seek thunder, or using emotion to seek essence. Even if they interact, it is not right. Sages have a way to restore...
Stop. So read the first sentence.
So making a young girl marry means using lake to seek thunder, or using emotion to seek essence.
Okay, so first we look at the image. A lake overtaking thunder. That's weird. That's not natural. There's nothing that accords with the way in that, right? Because thunder usually comes and goes, and the lake just sits there and does what it does, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually tranquil, but not with thunder over it. Yeah, that's what I missed. Was thunder is over the lake. That means there's a thunderstorm, right? And so, if the lake decides to become thunder and tries to chase it, and the thunder allows that to happen, now we've got a big natural chaos, right?
Right.
And so they're using lake again. Now at another level of abstraction, they're saying lake would represent emotion in this case. And what does it say? When emotion overtakes essence. Now
seek essence.
Okay. Yeah, if it seeks essence, read it again, please.
So making a young girl marry means using lake to seek thunder, or using emotion to seek essence.
Using, what was the first one? Using a lake overcoming thunder is like using what and what?
Emotion to seek essence.
All right. That's a catastrophe.
Right.
And then what's the next part, the next clause? Even
if they interact, it is not right.
Yeah, even if, it's like going and getting hysterical at your weekend seminar with I don't know, pick someone who does weekend seminars, and you're getting all emotional because you think that's spiritual or something like that. Well, that's not going to go anywhere. So keep going.
Sages have a way to restore the primal while in the temporal.
Yeah, if you're a sage, you could, in the middle of all this, you could restore the primal essence, right? Or life and merit, or the true as opposed to the false. But it's difficult, right? Because you can be overtaken by it.
Right.
And also, there's not a whole lot you can do a lot of the time.
Mm.
So if people are using emotion to seek essence, that's not a good. I mean, it's conceivable, but it's not likely, and it's much more likely that they're just going to make a big mess.
Makes sense.
Okay. Keep going.
If one seeks lake with thunder, using essence to seek feeling, not only will one not be overcome by emotion, one will also be able to snatch the true yang within feeling and restore it to essence.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to go more slowly. I don't have the book in front of me, so I'm visualizing this all in my head. Keep going.
Repeat it?
Yeah. Slowly go. Okay. And pause at the end of each clause before the pyramid, because these things are very, very dense.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, go.
If one seeks lake with thunder, so it's flipped now.
Yeah.
Using essence to seek feeling,
mm-hmm.
Not only will one not be overcome by emotion,
right,
one will also be able to snatch the true yang within feeling and restore it to essence.
There you go. So let's say you're thinking about the Palestinian conflict right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and you're overcome with a feeling. Now, if you use thunder for that to arise, I probably should have used a concrete example like that. But if you use thunder, if you do the inverse, instead of lake seeking essence, if you use essence to seek feeling, you can certainly get there very quickly. I mean, you can weep for the tragedy that is, right?
Right.
But from there, it's possible to restore essence, by deeper understanding, right? I think that's what it sounds like. Read it again, the whole thing. I mean, that sentence.
If one seeks lake with thunder, using essence to seek feeling, not only will one not be overcome by emotion, one will also be able to snatch the true yang within feeling and restore it to essence.
Yeah. So you can get to the true yang, the true. We're humans. We have feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We feel compassion, for example.
Yeah.
But you could still get to the true yang, the true positive essence, that in that direction, but not in the other direction.
Mm.
You see?
I think so.
Well, let's go through it slowly, though. So read the sentence above that again.
If one seeks lake with thunder, using essence to seek feeling, not only will one not be overcome by emotion, one will also be able to snatch the true yang within feeling and restore it to essence.
Okay, so this is the inverse of the prior sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying that one way is workable, the other one is not.
It's basically saying that, like, feeling has true yang, like it has real.
Yeah, underneath compassion,
in feeling, but not in being driven by feeling.
Right. So true compassion will arise, and pity or sorrow or whatever. But within that, there is true yang. And you can restore the primordial by getting rid of all the emotion, right? We're not getting rid of it, but transmuting it into essence.
Would it be right to say, like, seeing it?
Seeing it is the first step.
What's that?
Seeing it is the first step.
Right.
And then you have to, it takes it depends on your level of development, but it takes some will.
Mm-hmm.
Or training or understanding first.
Should I keep going? the few sentences.
If you want. So is this a reading that you got?
Yes.
Were there any moving lines?
Yes.
Which lines were moving?
The second yang.
The second yin?
Yang.
Oh, that's right. It's lake. Okay, so then now what happened? Because you got more yin now. All right. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have wait a minute. You have the second. The second is yang, and now so the second and fifth are out of balance, right?
It becomes thunder. Yeah.
Just pure thunder.
Pure thunder.
Well, that doesn't seem. Let's see. What does it say about that thunder? Read thunder now.
Thunder is developmental. When thunder comes, there's alarm, then laughter.
Okay, good.
Thunder.
See, that's perfect. Okay, you're okay. All right, go ahead.
Thunder startles for 100 miles, but one does not lose spoon and wine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just as an aside, I think reading this with you is helpful because it makes me realize that I read it too fast.
Yeah, it's not a fortune teller. It's a developmental process. It's an
right.
exquisite instrument. It's so exquisite that just hearing this one bowls me over, because you understand that there's like 3 levels of symbology at least, or more. And then there's the bringing in of practice and the way of being in the world, and also it's not just static. It's not like, oh, you got a 4 of spades, or you got the what is it, the hangman in tarot or whatever. This thing is moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where it moves, it says, okay, this is developmental, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get and it's critical, that second line moving to, and now you've got pure thunder.
Mm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Thunder over thunder. And yeah, that's sweet. Pure essence and life.
So when I'm reading it myself,
not metal. Go ahead.
So when I'm reading it on my own, say if I come across a passage that I don't understand the meaning to, should I mark it and then continue? Should I spend more time on trying to understand it?
I think you should spend more time on trying to understand it. At this point,
okay.
You've read through the book at least once, right?
I've read through just the very first part.
Well, see, this is the problem. You have to read through the whole book line by line. So you read it horizontal. So you read all the first lines, then you read all the second lines and the third line, so on and so forth. And then first, and then you read the general intro. I mean, the introductory text.
Yep.
And what do they call the one at the very, very top? I don't know. I think they call it description or something. It's all arbitrary.
Right.
Because this thing is 2,500 years old, right? But these old guys, man, they knew what the hell they were doing. Just think about it. And the whole thing is a double helix too. So this is you got to read it very slowly. You got to read it very respectful. The problem is the reason these things were somewhat sequestered and used by only people who knew what they were doing was exactly this, because people would go and they'd say, should I buy a Cybertruck this week?
Right.
And they throw the Yarrow sticks. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. That has nothing to do with this instrument, this exquisitely tuned and designed beyond anything I can imagine in the present. I can't think of anything since that comes close to being a moving interpretation. Now that assumes you got a good reading. So, but in this case, it sounds like you did.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with it is the vast majority of the time it's I get a lot out of it.
Well, yeah, but you got to be careful that you're not just projecting your own mind into it, right?
How would you be careful of that?
Well, if it's always flattering you,
No, not flattering.
or it's always, usually it comes as something of a caution, of a take heed, pay attention, things like that. But if you don't understand every line, then you're doing something wrong.
Okay.
All right. And so you take each line and you if you need to make notes, right? Like we didn't even enter into the east-west thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's something else there. And
Right.
the imagery is stupendous, right? Instead of lake overtaking thunder, which is totally unnatural, we just have pure thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And thunder is pretty pure, right? And in this case, it represents essence. So good. Yeah, treasure this thing. It's a companion for life, and it's a source of incredible wisdom and perspective, and it's a thinking man's companion. And so the Chinese genius for this is, it wasn't even Chinese. I mean, you could call it Chinese, but it precedes China. And it probably comes from some, one or two like incredible illuminates back then. I mean, really extraordinary seers, I guess. Sages is what they call them, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Another question, or you want to stay on this, the I Ching?
Another question that might...
And then you think about the abstract. You think about it in the concrete. You think about it, how does this apply? How could this possibly apply to me? How could this apply to me and my partner?
Situation.
Yeah, my situation, right, exactly. Or my nation or the world, right? So that's the other thing it does. It telescopes in and out according to your the depth of the person who's reading it and trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Now you don't always have to go that scale. And remember, there's two others I think I've recommended to you. Have I or not? The two other, the Buddhist commentary, the Buddhist teaching.
You haven't recommended it.
Yeah, I think you should read that now.
The Buddhist one.
Yeah, and also read the I Ching of organization.
Organization.
Yeah.
The Tao of organization?
Is that what it's called? The Tao of organization?
I cleared, yeah.
Yeah, I would read that one too, and that's more of social, and that's useful too if you're trying to understand the situations.
Yeah.
But all of them are true, priceless treasures. But especially the Taoist one, in my opinion, because it helps us as individuals on our way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can feel just like the density of it.
It's very, very, very dense and compact. I mean, how do you put all this into 64 hexagrams? That's part of the genius. And the other thing is it's moving. So the thing that you'll understand, in other words, it's changing. It's like nature itself, like the world itself, constantly changing. So then you see it not only in the dimensions of essence and non-essence, but then you see, and not only today, but you see what's going to happen if you persist in one thing, or if you cultivate one thing, or if you desist from something. And so it also moves in that other dimension of time, which very few things do reliably. So good. All right.
So I've been thinking.
So are you using the pennies or the yarrow sticks or anything like that? Are you using that?
The pennies, yeah.
Okay, good. And are you making sure there should be, by all rights, I mean, in all reasonableness, there should be a ritual around this. And the reason for go ahead. But then I want to explain why the ritual.
I have my own little one.
Okay, good. So a ritual of a cloth that's used only for that, using shiny pennies, right? Not cruddy old things that have gone through a bunch of people's hands.
Yeah, I need to find better ones. I spent some time cleaning them, but they're still not ideal.
You can get it from a bank or from a store. You get a roll of pennies. They're pretty much worthless these days. And then spending some time, clearing your mind and being able to, I mean, this is speaking of contemplations, this would be a perfect, speaking of contemplation. Okay. People are always asking me, what's contemplation? I don't like it. Or what's meditation? I don't like that.
Really?
Oh yeah, of course. People don't like to think anymore. And and it's much to their detriment, much to their detriment.
Yeah.
And so this is a contemplation, but it's a very serious one, and it should be taken seriously. And that's what ritual was used for in this context throughout history. But our country has lost its way. It's lost its soul. It's lost any idea of anything higher than itself. And basically that means money, right? And power. And so of course we're going to fall off the deep end and hurt everybody and ourselves. Yeah. So I remember looking at ritual and saying, well, that's just for silly, stupid people that are, they're ignorant. They believe in superstitious stuff. But no, the ritual serves a very important function.
Yeah, rituals make sense to me. I mean, this is a kind of not a very profound example, but I play volleyball and there's a ritual, and same thing in basketball, but like before it's free throw and before my serve, there's a ritual, and everyone has their own ritual.
Absolutely. In baseball, I was talking to a pitcher one day, and he talked about the rituals they go through not only before the game, but before they throw the ball.
Yeah, I think
but that's different.
Great athlete has a ritual.
But see, that's different because they're trying to recreate something that happened before and make it happen again. And so then we get into superstition, right? And that's why the randomness, or the apparent randomness, or the quasi-randomness of a reading is very important, because that's out of your control completely.
Right.
And so what they're trying to do is control reality by superstition.
Also, I think it calms the mind.
Okay, well, that way it certainly works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mind, is attracted to this, but make a distinction between trying to create the exact same outcome as happened before, make it happen again by repeating the same act of, what they rub the ball against their right leg, and then they scratch their face, and then they, and then they squeeze their nose, and then they put their left foot and kind of touch the ground a little bit, and then they, who knows what's going on, but they're making a foundational mistake. Well, maybe not for calming their mind or calming their arm or whatever. Maybe they find it reassuring. Yeah. But that's different than what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is openness to the outcome while doing your best.
Right.
That's foundationally different. An open outcome, as opposed to, I know what the outcome should be. I should throw a strike, right? Regardless of the battle, and so obviously I can't. People do get something out of that, or I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
but that's different than what's going on here. Okay. Next question, or do you want to stay on this? We could stay on this. I could stay on the I Ching all day.
Well, I do want to touch work before we run out of time.
All right.
And